Welcome everybody to the Sports Lounge. Hey, we want to appreciate each one of you hopping on here live tonight here on this lovely, I don't even know what day of the week it is, man. It's what happens when you work too much with Wednesday night. That's right. It's hump day. We got here Wednesday night, so we want to appreciate everyone that is hopping on this live or even watching this replay. Of course, we got the topic of our current conversations that's been recently, obviously, is going to be the NBA. First off, here at the Sports Sounds, we are powered by the Mogul brand and the Diamond Collection. You can follow us, like us, subscribe to us. We, of course, have our Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. What else? Oh, and TikTok. Don't forget about TikTok. But yeah, no. So we got all those on our social media platforms, and of course, the biggest thing, we wouldn't be able to do this without our sponsors. Being, of course, the number one sports fan located here in the Central Valley of California, in Tulare, Visalia, and Hanford. Of course, hit up. Go in there and let them know the Sports on sent you, and they'll take care of you there. And you can also look at their website that they have been reformatting right now at the number1sportsfan.com. Next, we have, of course, Brian Martino Construction at Martino Construction. Just let them know if you need any of your bathroom or kitchen remodels on a job that is $10,000 or more on a full remodel, they will give you $1,000 off just for mentioning the Sports Lounge. I don't know about you. I mean, in today's economy, that's pretty dang good. Really? And last but not least, of course, we have Cali Bill Graphics, who takes care of all of our shirt, hats, stickers, all those needs. Hey, they even do full car wraps. So that's pretty impressive. But yeah, so if you need anything, again, go hit up Rigo here in Tulare and let them know also that the Sports On sent you. But hey, so obviously, again, welcome everyone. And here's what we got for tonight. And, the big thing, obviously, you do not see a normal panel of, 4 people, 5 people. It's going to be me and Dice Will here tonight, bringing to you the NBA. And again, let's hop into it. So hey, Dice, how you doing this week, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been an okay week. This weather's been crazy, though, but we're still getting through it.
I was going to ask, how's the weather out there in Vegas? Because I think Mother Nature is is bipolar right now here in, of course, Tulare. Doesn't know if it wants to be hot or cold.
We've gotten rain, we've gotten wind, it's been everything.
Yeah, I'm so over it. It's just like, can we just continually have some rain, or decide if you're going to rain? Don't, Right. Especially when those of us, like, we go wash our cars and it's like, oh, it's nice out. Let's go get our car washed. The next thing you get enough to ruin the freshly clean car.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, there goes that. But hey, so obviously a big thing that we're going to talk about here, we're going to of course, is going to be the NBA as we've continued this. And another thing, I want to pop this in there. Saturday morning, 7:30 Pacific. Yes, it is early for those of you on the West Coast, but those of you that are on the East Coast, Central Time, we are going to start doing going live at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central. And obviously, guess what? Free agency with the NFL is hit. Combine is done. Now we're getting prepared to go into the draft, and that is what we are going to be bringing to you. Is we're going to be talking about the NFL and college football. Starting this Saturday. But so let's hop into it, man. Let's do that NBA recap going back to Sunday, March 9th. And normally we go through all the games, but the one thing that kind of stood out to me was a lot of these bigger games, because this last week, I don't know about you, looking at, paying attention to it, a lot of, 500 and above teams against subpar teams. The schedule was a little lopsided in most of the days this last week. But Sunday, we had the big game, obviously, with the Thunder and the Nuggets, and the Thunder winning that one 127-103. That one, I don't know about you guys, anybody that watched that was actually a close game until the fourth quarter. Then all of a sudden, the Thunder went off in that fourth quarter. It's like that was the epitome and the downfall for the Nuggets in that game. Another big game that happened on Sunday, of course, was the Cavs and the Bucks. Giannis trying to secure that playoff spot. Is he really trying to secure it, though? Because, if you think about it, everyone makes the dang playoffs pretty much, it seems like, in the NBA. You
Yeah.
know, it's just a matter of if I'm going to be stuck in that play-in. And that's the big thing. But no, so Cavs winning that one 112 to 100. And of course, then we also had another big game, which was the Clippers and the Kings that went into overtime with the Clippers winning by 1 point, 111, 110. That right there was a big game, in my personal opinion, because that's going to affect the standings drastically. Because you got two teams, one's 33 and 30, the other one is 35 and 29. And when it comes to the playoff schedule, that is actually going to affect that seeding, whether being an 8 or a 9.
Right.
And that's kind of where they're sitting at. I mean, as long as they don't drop out of that 10 spot, then they're good. But you want to be that 8 seed realistically, because I believe the 8 is going to end up with a home on the playoff, the end game. They end up with a home game, is what I think it is. I can't remember. It's too dang confusing, at times.
They got to keep that win streak going with the Kings, though, because if not, the Mavs could sneak right up. They're 33-33 right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be the big thing for them. I agree with you on that, Dice. Because that when you're sitting right there on that brink, literally only one game back, realistically, it's going to make it tough. Everyone's going to be doing their best. It's not like it's something. I mean, if you think about the Eastern Conference, crap, you can have a losing record, and they're going to make the playoffs. Because when you look at that, even the play-in teams, they're all below 500.
Right.
I'm going to say this, and if your team is not above 500, in my personal opinion, you should not be allowed in the playoffs. I don't care what sport you're in. It's like, if you can't finish 500, you shouldn't make the playoffs. What do you think about that one?
I can believe that too, because you should be able to at least get in that fair spot. And like right now with 8, 9, 10, it's two neck and neck. Even 11 with the Suns, if they win 6 more games, they're right there too.
Yeah. I mean, but again, when you go back to that East, the Western Conference, I mean, 37 and 29, which is a 7 seed in the Western Conference, that puts you realistically, at a 5-6 in the Eastern.
Right.
But when you look at it, if you're 33 and 33, guess what? You're sitting at a 7 in the Eastern Conference, but like the Mavs, they're sitting at a 10 spot. And so that's a big thing. I mean, just like, if you can't finish 500, I just really don't think, I mean, imagine if they stop that. I mean, just think about, what was it, a couple of years ago, the Rams made the playoffs with a losing record. It's happened quite a few times. Obviously, it happens all the time in the NBA. There's always somebody that's making the playoffs because there's so many teams. Even in baseball, if you can't finish 500.
With the play-in thing, it should have been a make or break if you made into the playoffs or not with the trophy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't agree with the whole play-in thing. It's like, look, if you're not good enough to make it, the top 6 or 8 seeds, I mean, at the end of the day, of course, we've had the conversation. Chosen has been on here. We've had the conversation, and at the end of the day, it's a business move. It's about keeping people locked in, watching the games, things like that. I mean, what's crazy though is the season literally goes until, like, what is it, June or something like that? I mean, I'm like, they literally, and they're getting ready to start playoffs. That's what makes it even worse. In my thought process, like, dude, it's going to take you a month and a half to get through playoffs.
They're trying to,
I was just like,
because they want more screen time before football comes, because football is going to take over everything when it comes to the draft, all the games coming on. Then
oh yeah, I don't even know. Like, let's be honest, draft night, I don't know why anyone tries to have any type of game whatsoever. When it comes, it's like, look, if the NFL draft is on, hey, everybody is watching it. No one cares who's playing. I remember it used to be that way for the NBA draft, but it's not that way anymore.
Yeah, it has less is light for that.
Yeah. But hey, let's hop into Monday. Monday's big games. the big game for me, and we're kind of going to hop into and talk to it here shortly. But actually, it wasn't it wasn't two good teams, but it was actually the Lakers who currently sit at, I believe, the 2 seed
Mhm.
in the Western Conference, but they lost in LeBron's first full game of being out. So it was Luka's first game. He ended up with a triple double, but they lost 111 to 108. And that's going to be going into our question, our next question here in a few minutes.
Mhm.
But to me, that game is like, man, Luka, you just, you got brought up for a reason. You used to know how to win in Dallas. You better figure out how to win in LA, because at the end of the day, it's just like New York. You'll get booed out of there. If you're not winning, you're gone.
Exactly.
But the other big game that actually what kind of intrigued me was a rematch of the Nuggets and the Thunder. Nuggets ended up beating the Thunder by 13 at 140 to 127, and Jokic kind of recuperated from that one. He only had 24 in the previous game, ended up with 35 in this one. 18 boards. And I will say this: it is congratulations to Jokic. To be the first player ever in NBA history to have a quadruple double.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
is.
that. I'm just like, that's pretty impressive considering it was a center. He actually
Right.
had 2 triple doubles, if you think about it. He had a triple double in the first half and the second half.
Right.
So that was pretty freaking impressive. In my thoughts itself, especially being a big man. I mean, realistically, he's probably going to go down as this era's best big man. That's there. He really does play though like a guard. They need to seriously stop shooting threes, but unfortunately, that's this era's style of play.
That's how they do it.
The other, yeah, the other big game was the Knicks and the Kings. That affected obviously that seeding for them. Knicks are kind of working their way up in that their rankings on the Eastern Conference, but that was a 133-104 win, and it showed what. Have you had a chance to watch any of the Knicks games?
Not a lot of them, no, but it's showing that they are looking better this year. So it all
The
depends
the
on how.
one thing, like in all honesty, the one thing that's impressed me is the fact is that they can win on the road.
Yeah.
They're 20-12 on the road. That's not a lot of teams can go on the road and win like that. And
Yeah, that's
so I mean, shoot,
that's good for them going 24, 18, 26, 15. You have mostly like the whole starting five all in double digit scoring. So that's really good too.
yeah, and to me, that's where I've kind of looked at it, and I'm just like, hey, the Knicks might be able to pull something out. I mean, can they go far in the in the playoffs? I don't think they're quite ready yet for it. But I can see them realistically making a little bit of a run. They're basically almost locked in at a 3 spot.
Hmm.
Cleveland, obviously, we talked about it last week. They've already locked up their spot in the playoffs at 55-10 overall. But the other thing, so that, like I said, Eastern Conference is not what it used to be. But let's go into Monday's games, man. Monday, the 2 seed. Or I'm sorry. Tuesday's games. I'm sorry, my bad. No, so Tuesday's games actually was again one of those lackluster punch games. There wasn't very many games. There was only 4 games that happened. The Pelicans upset the Clippers 127 to 120. Zion had a triple double there. Then of course you had the Pacers beat the Bucks 115-114. Giannis managed with the double-double, 17 boards, but at the end of the day, Siakam and the Pacers were able to squeak by in that fourth quarter.
Right.
And you had the Pistons. Yeah, that was a good one, actually. Pistons and the Wizards. We talked about it. Pistons are moving up. Are they ready for the next round to kind of step it up? No, they're going to make the playoffs. We know that. But from what they've done, it's been impressive. Cade Cunningham is coming into himself as a star. He is the face of that team. He ended up with 27, 8 boards, 10 assists. But again, of course, that is the Wizards. And then, of course, the last game from Tuesday night was the Cavs and the Nets, where the Cavs ended up beating the Nets by 5. And they were actually losing at halftime. That's the Cavs have kind of been figuring out how to come back. They're having to play from behind. I don't know if you've noticed that lately, but 15 wins in a row, that is a phenomenal feat in itself.
Yeah. With they're going 30.
Yeah, on that game, Darius Garland had 30, Jared Allen had 23, and Evan Mobley had 21. Again, not getting a lot of points from the bench, but they're getting the minutes. And that's the big key. As long as you're getting the rest that's needed, and I think that's what's helping them, because they don't need a lot of points because they have some scores on that offensive side of the ball. And of course, we have tonight's games that are going on currently, and the big game to talk about is the Celtics and the Thunder. That right now is in the fourth quarter with 10:36 left. Thunder are up by 3. That is it. So that one's going to be a tight match. Is what that one is going to be. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen there. And of course, you also have the Spurs and the Mavs.
74 right now in the third quarter.
Yep. So that one is going to be a good one also. So that's what we have on the recap. Another thing, obviously, that we want to go into, and I mentioned it shortly. So the Lakers losing LeBron with a growing injury. They just reported actually that today he ended up going back to LA to receive more treatment. And with them losing LeBron, do you think the Lakers will end up dropping in standings? Because you got to remember, they moved up from the 5 spot to the 2. And now they have already dropped, losing 2 in a row. They're at the 3 spot now.
Yeah. If Luka if Luka and Reeves don't turn around to score more, because Reeves got to put up at least 25 now, and Luka's got to put up his Maverick numbers, because that's the only way they're gonna they'll stay at that 3 spot or even move back up to that 2 spot with LeBron being gone for, they said 2 weeks, but is longer now or?
So they're saying a week to 2. But they already, like I said, they already reported he's got sent back to LA just to receive the treatment right there in LA.
Right. So still, it could be 2.5. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. It's not sure right now, but I think it is going to affect the rankings by not having him there. Everyone knows I'm not the hugest LeBron fan. But I will say this: he does make a team better. He does help the team win.
Right.
But when you got the 2 seed at 42 and 23 and the 5 seed at 40 and 25, so there's only 2 games separating between 2nd and 5th in the Western Conference. And if you really want to get into it, at the 6th spot, there's only 5 games.
Yeah. So now anybody's ball game when it comes down to it with LeBron gone.
Yeah. Golden State is picking it up right now. They're 9-1 in the last 10. And so they've moved up in the rankings because they were sitting actually at the 7th spot, but they've moved up. And so they're not in the play, and they're actually in as of right now. But that's where, you have some win streaks that are going on, which are big. Minnesota, Golden State, both at 5 wins in a row. Memphis and Houston at 3, but the Lakers losing 2 in a row. That's going to be a big thing. And it can affect the seedings. And I don't know. I don't feel that the Lakers are going to end up as a 2 seed. I can see them probably around a 5. But it's going to be tough though, man.
And it all depends on how LeBron comes back from this groin injury. Like, is he going to come back fully, or is he going to be still kind of hurting? How his minutes are going to be to where we're standing. If they'll stand in the 5th, or they could end up, if they end up losing too many games, they could end up in that 6th position where the Warriors are at now, Warriors could end up in that third position.
Exactly. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, of course, in that Western Conference, again, they can. I mean, you just that conference is so tight between, realistically between we have what is there 17 like 17 in between 16 and 18 games left on the season.
Yeah.
Okay. Denver right now is at 42-23 with a 2 spot.
Yeah.
But there's only 9.5 game separation between the 2 and the 10. So if you end up on some type of a losing streak, losing 4 or 5 in a row, man, they can drop all the way out and end up stuck in a play-in.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know he's only gone 2 weeks, but like we still don't know how he's going to come back in those 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Back the same way we need him to score 40 to 30 points. Because if he drops down to 20-25 and his minutes drop because of the injury, and if Luka doesn't come up to be like how he was with the Mavericks, putting up 35 or 42,
yep,
it's going to look bad.
I mean, when you look at their schedule, I'm sitting there looking at their schedule. They've got their next games. They've got Milwaukee tomorrow. They've got the Nuggets on Friday. You got Phoenix on Sunday, San Antonio on Monday. Then you got Denver again next Wednesday, and then Milwaukee again the day after. So they're playing Denver, Milwaukee twice in 1 week. That right there is what's going to make it. It's like, dude, if you don't figure out how to split that at least,
right.
The only thing that's going to help them is finishing out the season with what their schedule is, but it's going to be difficult.
Very.
Another thing that is kind of getting me is Oklahoma City. They finished April 6th and April 9th, so Sunday and Tuesday, back-to-back games. They have to play on the road against the Thunder. I'm like, that's just not fair.
That's really not fair for them at all.
I mean, at least they don't have to travel, but at the end of it, man, you got to look at it. It's like, hey, look, this is what it is. But like I said, I see them finishing realistically like at a 5 seed, is what I think they're going to end up with.
Right. I can see that too. It all depends on how LeBron comes back. They can keep the 3 if he comes back healthy enough, but if he doesn't come back healthy enough, they can really sneak back. They may sneak to that 5 spot and go down, and then with all the teams that they're healthy, they could that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could change a lot in these 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be pretty interesting. When it comes to the Western Conference. So I'm actually reading up right now what they're reporting. So it says right here, LeBron actually has returned to Los Angeles per medical recommendation as he continues to progress well from a growing strain, with the team finishing road trip Thursday in Milwaukee and Friday in Denver. So we know he's going to, obviously, that's part of that time frame, but if he's got to get back for at least the other 2 games the following week.
Right.
Because they do not have the firepower to beat Denver twice and also to beat Milwaukee twice within 1 week. It just they've got a good team, but right now, Rui's still out. Obviously, you got LeBron. Jackson Hayes has been day to day here recently. Luka's even dealing with some injuries. So you're playing basically with nothing but a injury depleted roster, and that's what is going to affect you. And of course, once you get in, to the end of the season, that's what always happens.
Yeah, when people start getting hurt and getting injured, and it's putting it all on the bench's shoulders when it comes to like Reeves and Connect having to score, and you got to get more scores.
Yeah, so No, that's what we got on the NBA. Is there any games that you've looked at this week that's going to be standing out to you?
For tomorrow, it mainly is gonna be that Bucks game for Lakers to see how they're gonna do against Giannis
Okay.
without definitely that one. The Nuggets had
Yeah.
Timberwolves. That one might be a game. It might not because Jokic probably will still go off.
That Sacramento Golden State game, I think that's going to be a pretty impressive one.
Yeah, that's going to be the one.
That's the one I will say this that I will be paying attention to tomorrow night at 7:00. And of course, Friday you got the big one with the Lakers and the Nuggets at 6:30. That's the one that everyone will pay attention to.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a few good games that I'm looking forward to this week that are actually standing out. It's like, man, I'm going to catch that one, and especially pay attention to that one. So, but I don't know who. What do you think about Jokic though? I want to hop into that one real quick. Jokic with the quadruple double.
Yeah, like you said before, I think he is. He's the only big that actually plays as a big still, kind of like he does go for jumpers, but more likely he's in the post,
right?
Like how bigs used to be back in the day, and he's the only one I see that's scoring like that back in the day as far as a post score. So yeah, I could say that right now he's this year's one. It could have been Zion, but he didn't really get to par that we wanted him to get to, as far as his body going and everything else. So it's definitely Jokic, unless Zion turns it around within the next few games. But I still would say Jokic is definitely the big man for this era.
Yeah, I mean, to even have a triple double, doing that, also 30 points, 20 boards, 20 assists as a big.
Yeah,
what the like?
You haven't seen that since like Shaq or Dave Robson or even with Tim Duncan.
No, it's they were utilized as those people, as the big men, and so having that where a center is getting you 22 assists, that just tells you how much he pays attention. And he does. It is about, hey, I need to go ahead and put the team on my shoulders, and we're going to win this thing. When he did get that the 30-20-20, they actually were tied right there in the final seconds, and so they ended up winning it. But man, 20 assists to a guy that's 7'2", but also the fact is you got a 7-footer that moves the way he does. It's a little goofy, we all know, but
he still makes it work.
Exactly.
He makes the shots work the way he does.
Yep, exactly. So, but no, that's what we got here tonight for our NBA recap and everything. So, don't forget, like, follow, and subscribe to each one of our channels. We appreciate you guys. Again, it's TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. We do have our Facebook page. And share it. Please share. It's getting the content out there, doing everything we can to continue to bring all the sports media coverage. We have a lot more coming up. And again, like I said, this Saturday, 7:30 in the morning, 10:30 Eastern, we will be talking about the NFL and college, obviously with free agency here upon us.
Yes.
But please don't forget also follow our the other gentlemen that hop on here with us. Of course, we have the Sunshine State Eagles on TikTok. We also have Fantasy Blitz on TikTok. They also have their YouTube channels. And of course, we have the Chosen One. He has his channel with the Mogul. But yeah, like, follow, and subscribe. Again, we appreciate you all. We hope you all have a blessed evening and stay safe out there.
Peace.